The following show contains views and opinions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Audience discretion is advised.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to Thespian Talk. I am your host, Gomer the Ranting Thespian, and my co-host with me is the Cat.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, this is
Jeopardy.
Pretty much everybody's here. Aaron is he's off doing things. He got roped into something, so he couldn't make it, which I'm kind of sad for because this is the last show of the year. You know, unless time just rearranges itself and gives us another chance to record an episode, this is going to be the last show of the year because for those who don't know, we tend to record on Sundays. Those, for me, while I'm out on the road, they're usually the days that are least likely to get new loads or have to deliver or what have you. And then for everybody else, it's basically just kind of the laziest day for all of our weeks. But the last two Sundays are Christmas and New Year's, and yeah, even though none of us, we're all like heathen non-Christians or whatever, we still celebrate Christmas with our families because it's become much more than what the Christians or even the pagans had intended it to be. So it's very, very all-inclusive in that way nowadays, which is a good thing. I like that. For me personally, I'm probably going to spend Christmas night going to see Rogue One finally. I've not had a chance to go see it. I've heard it's good. I've heard Becky has told me, because she went to go see it opening night, she's told me that it's definitely of a different flavor than most of the Star Wars movies that we've seen out there. And Kat, I think didn't you go see it? Would you agree with that or?
I did. I braved the skating rink that are all of the roads in Missouri right now and went to see it. It was very different. It didn't at times feel quite like a Star Wars film. It definitely had all the right homages and all the right places. It just had a slightly different tone throughout it because the Star Wars films tend to center around a certain set of characters. I mean, it's a war that's going on, but it's always centered around the Skywalker family in some way up until The Force Awakens. And then you still have Skywalkers in there. So this has nothing to do with any of it's got Darth Vader in it. You still have that character. But otherwise, none of the good guys are characters that we've ever seen before, except Jimmy Smits' character. I mean, we've seen a lot of these characters before, but, not for a long time and not in this way. Very, very, very good movie. I really enjoyed it. Really great soundtrack. As always, with a Star Trek film, the score is incredible. The effects were mostly good. It gets a little uncanny valley at times because of what they're trying to do, and this is kind of a spoiler, but there are characters who would have been around during this time, and obviously their actors by now have passed on or are much older, and they're trying to keep those characters around in this film because that's logically what makes sense. So there's a lot of CGIing of people's faces that's going on, and it's a little weird at times, but honestly, it's a really great film.
Yeah, I had heard about like the CGI, a couple of the CGI characters. Becky told me that much. For me, it's not that much of a spoiler because it's kind of a foregone conclusion that those characters would be there. So it's not a spoiler for me that much. But yeah, I do look forward to seeing it, and of course, after I do that, I'm gonna try and get like a friend of mine or two to go with me, to go and see it, and we can do like a vlog about it, like my yearly movie vlog or whatever. Wanted to do one for both Deadpool and Storks, which I got to see this year, but Becky was like, I don't want to be in front of the camera, so gotta respect that. So, and plus we were just kind of beat tired anyway, and all that. We wanted to get back. We wanted to eat dinner and get back to the hotel, that sort of thing. Just whatever. So yeah, this particular episode is going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing, for just for the most part. This one is going to be, since it is the last episode of the year, it's going to be a year in review type episode, where we pull out different things that have made an impression on us in 2016. I think we can fill if not a full hour, just talking about things that have happened that, again, stuck with us the whole time. And it could be anything from like politics, video games, pop culture, whatever it happens to be, that sort of thing. And I'll admit, next year I'll probably do this again next year as well. I'll try and be a little bit more prepared and get some stuff from you guys out there as well. But I was driving this week. I'm like, oh damn, that would be a good idea. And didn't have much time to implement it. But next year, hopefully, there will be more time to implement it because I'll actually think further ahead than just a few days. Speaking of next year, if you're watching it on YouTube or even see it on the site, you'll notice the title card there. That's going to be changing soon. Becky will. Fingers are crossed that Becky will have the time to do it, and it'll be one to where that if things happen, like if we have to have a rotating cast change or whatever, don't have to worry about changing the title card for a long damn time. I'm hoping for that. So hopefully that'll be up by the first show of 2017. All that really good fun stuff. Speaking of changes, or actually not changes, that was a horrible segue. If you follow me on Patreon, a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the meat of everything. If you follow me on Patreon, or go over to patreon.com/Gomer21XX, you throw enough money at me per month. Not only does it help pay the bills, to help me get up the bills to the point to where maybe I can actually stop driving so much and actually do that part-time and then do this part-time and eventually full-time. But it's baby steps. You go over there, you throw, I think I'm set at about $15. You can get all sorts of ad space on like all my videos, all these little podcasts that I do, and a little bit on the site as well. I think I have it set up to where no matter what page you click to on the site, you get the little ad space there. But anyways, there is one person who does that. Her name is Beth Cody. She does a podcast called Invest with Beth over at investwithbeth.com. She hasn't put out any new ones recently. Her schedule has slipped as well. She's been busy. And what it is, it's a real estate investor podcast. Give you advice and give some advice and and interviews and all of that. And it's really, really well done, put together podcast. I highly suggest you go check it out, especially if you want to get into like the whole real estate business or whatever. It has some really good advice there. Again, that's investwithbeth.com. You can also find it on iTunes, and of course there is also one site that I like to continually put out there because they don't pay me for it. I do it just because, hey, I believe in them. I think they do good work. That is circleplus.co, run by Lady Jess and Holly Christine. It is content made by women, and obviously with focus on female content creators, and they do good work. So go check them out. They also have their own oh God, what is the word I'm looking for? Exclusive podcast, Late Night with Bisexuals. Again, run by Lady Jess and Holly Christine. Go check them out. The show is really good. They've been having some of the same schedule slip problems that we have, unfortunately. So, but they still have a really good backlog, and they're really fun to listen to. So again, that's circleplus.co. Again, if you want to have any of your stuff advertised on here, patreon.com/Gomer21XX. You hit that one, I think it's the $15 a month thing, and I'll put it in here. I'll put the links and doobly-doos, all that really good stuff. And yeah. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, because I'm currently on the road, but I'll be home over Christmas, and hopefully I can use some of that time to maybe put together some actual bumpers that will play instead of me just kind of stumbling through it every week. So I'm gonna guess last show of the year. Kat, you don't have any shout-outs, do you?
Literally none.
Yeah. See, and another running gag right there. Nothing wrong with that, though. Sometimes you don't have it. Sometimes you do. Although the times when you do have them, it's a nice and pleasant surprise. So yes. Okay. So 2016. It just in general. I want to start with I guess we'll start with the lower points and then work up to some of the better points of the year. Um, just so that way we can at least end on a higher note. So obviously the biggest thing about 2016 is the election, the general election, the primaries, and all of that bullshit throughout the year. That led to the you know that led that helped. Oh God, how am I going to put this? It basically, from what I have seen and what I have read so far, based on the evidence I have been presented with, it was basically Russia hacking and influencing the stupidest among us to vote for Biff Tannen and get him elected into power. Am I? You think that's about accurate, Kat?
That's a pretty accurate statement. Biff Tannen is an excellent reference there.
Yeah. So yeah, we've had that happen, and I swear, I've mentioned it before. I listen to the NPR politics podcast, and every time they go on a story about Trump, and he does something, he's bringing on Steve Bannon as one of his cabinet members, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, Steve Bannon, what is he like? Oh, he's one of those white nationalist motherfuckers who think that white men should control the planet because white skin. I don't know. I never could really I never really could understand the whole idea of somebody's skin means that they are somehow more qualified to run things than somebody that doesn't have white skin or what have you. I've never really understood that, and I think it's inherently stupid. And then you get this stupid idea into the hands of people in power that can actually enforce this stupidity, and then it's no longer stupid, it's dangerous. Oh, god damn. So, so much to unpack about the whole electoral season, too. I mean, we had the primaries, again, with Trump rising up through the GOP, even though people thought he was done for. With all of these things, apparently the American people don't care about that, or at least not his voter base. Which, good job, Donald Trump. You've stirred up the hornet's nest of the worst of America. Just saying. And then over on the Democrat side, if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a few months, and sometimes days just kind of run together on the road. But it's like I felt like I think Bernie was kind of cheated out of the Democratic nomination, if I'm remembering right, or if that was, I don't know if that was actually fact, or if that was just somebody crying foul, or what was that? Do you remember anything, Kat?
It kind of seemed like all the things went for Hillary, and then afterwards they found out, well, no, because there was all this stuff that happened, and like ballots weren't counted, or something screwy happened, and if it hadn't happened, Bernie would have won. And so it seemed like the whole election was rigged for Hillary, and that screwed over the Democratic Party hardcore. Because nobody really wanted Hillary. I mean, that's pretty much what the vote said, was that Hillary was a piece of shit. Nobody wanted her, but the party wanted her, so that's what we got.
Yeah, that does sound about right. And then, of course, well, general election. And I will admit, I went, and when I voted Hillary because, and it's not even a case of the lesser of two evils. Although, yeah, you could be forgiven for thinking I thought that way, because I looked at everybody that was on my ballot, that I knew was going to be on my ballot. There was like 5 people. There was Trump, Hillary, I think Jill Stein, was it Gary Johnson? I think it was. And then one other dude. The other dude was the only one I had never heard of by the time I got to the ballot. So I was like, oh dear. But the other 4 I had looked into enough, and it's like, yeah, out of all these people, Hillary has the least amount of deal-breaking potential. So I went with her. For whatever it's worth, my own county went red. Thank you, fucking Jackson County. Fuck you. And it's going to be interesting because I've not been home since the election. I've been on the road this entire time. So it's going to be an interesting homecoming this Christmas. But yeah, if Bernie got in there, and I've seen people, like, just say, yeah, even if Bernie had won, he may have still lost to Trump, but we won't know unless we can get a TARDIS and go and change history. We're probably not going to know. At least I don't think so. Oh God, so much more to unpack on this election. Is there anything in particular you want to unpack right now while my thoughts recoalesce for a moment, Kat?
I'd actually like to just forget that the election ever happened. I feel like everybody lost. Like America as a whole has proven itself to be the failure that we always had the potential to be. And we really are deep down just a hateful, landmass full of people who are awful. Which is terrible because I am very proud to be an American, but I'm not right now. I haven't been for several months now. It feels so miserable living here now. And if I feel this way, imagine how people who don't have my privilege must feel. I'm a white girl. I'm not that bad off. I mean, sure, people don't want me to have equal pay as men, but whatever. I don't get beaten in the street for the color of my skin. So if I feel this miserable living in the current America, it's only going to get worse and worse. And not necessarily for me, but for other people, for disabled people, for the LGBTQA plus whatever community. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, and the thing is that the biggest thing about the election is the Republicans almost pretty much complete power. Because they have control of, I think, both of the House and the Senate as well. I think is how this came out at the election. And even like comparatively smaller races like North Carolina, just and this has been happening recently as well. Whatever the fuck the governor's name is, Governor Bathroom Bill. I'll just call him that for right now. You guys will know who I'm talking about. I hope. He lost by like 10,000 votes or whatever, and he just recently conceded. He finally conceded. He's like, oh, okay, fine. But then all of his cronies before he and his kind get out of office, they're pushing through all of these bills that are going to limit the next guy who is a Democrat. And it's like, you guys you lost. Get the fuck out. You're done.
And that can't be constitutional. That just simply cannot be constitutional. And it's the pettiest fucking thing I can think of other than Donald Trump himself. Like, to just go, oh, well, I lost. Well, now you're not going to get to do anything because I say so. And then, if this guy comes back into office, he's just going to, beef up his powers all over again. This is unconstitutional. And if it's not, it should be. Nobody should lose and then make the power or have the power to make sure that everybody loses from now on. This is bullshit.
Yeah, very much agreed. And then, oh God, what else about just this whole electoral season? Again, there's a lot to unpack. So much more. Oh God. But I think the sum of it is, look at Donald Trump's cabinet. I think one of his things was draining the swamp, which to me reads as getting money out of Washington, or at least the quote-unquote corrupt money out of Washington. That's how I've read it. Obviously, he's not doing that, because I think it's the Secretary of State, is the CEO of Exxon, if I remember right, of ExxonMobil. And it's like, yeah, you're putting some of the richest motherfuckers in the country up into these cabinet positions. You got the you have people who are absolutely horrible representing the rest of us. We don't want that. In fact, I think even the popular vote would disagree that, yeah, he may have won the Electoral College, but popular-wise, we wanted Hillary. In terms of the popular vote. Now, and I know the Electoral College is what is supposed to count, and I swear, it's almost like every election, I tend to re-question, okay, is the Electoral College really necessary in this day and age? I mean, really. But then again, who knows? But although I I think I did read somewhere where the Electoral College was put in place to prevent people like Trump, at least originally. That way, if like people wanted somebody and they just didn't know what they wanted and they were duped or whatever, the Electoral College is supposed to be like, wait a minute, you guys are being duped. This guy is evil as shit. We're going to vote against him, and he's not going to be president. That sort of thing. I think that's what the original intention was, if I remember right. But nowadays it's more like, oh, more people in my state want this. Well, I better vote this way. You know,
Yeah.
it's basically a sheep leading other sheep. I think at this point, I think is a good way to put it. Uh,
Unless they decide to turn it around, that's the only thing that can save our country right now. Is if the Electoral College is like, whoa, 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 fuck it.
yeah. And by the time this goes up, I think they vote on the 19th. This should be up on the 19th. By the time you guys hear this, they may have already voted. And of course, it's going to take a while for that to get counted and then be put out, I think, like in January. Which, oh God, the whole voting system is just very cumbersome. I mean, and I understand counting, taking time to count the popular vote, because there's at least a few million of us in this country, and abroad too, because you got to remember, you got military personnel, soldiers and such, stationed abroad. They still have to vote, so they have to mail their ballot back.
Actually, they usually vote early.
Okay, well, okay. Either way, they still have to get their vote to us, to us and in like the main country. So, so with it still being a thing to get everybody's votes in, understandable that the popular vote might take a little bit of time. But the electoral vote, I think, is just a few hundred. Shouldn't take that long to say, okay, boom, And if they do what a lot of people are hoping to do and vote against Donald Trump and say, no, we're not letting this Cheeto puff hate rage apricot into office, then, we deserve to know and prepare accordingly. At least that's what I think. Yeah, it's one of those things that needs to be scrapped and then just rebuilt from the ground up, I think. So okay, to move away from the elections for a little bit, because that's a whole ball of bad news in and of itself. And yeah, odds are there'll probably be something. I almost want to say one story a week on Trump, because he's probably going to do something that stupid that often. But
I mean, he hasn't even been put into office yet, and he's already there, where every day is a new shit fest out of his Twitter that somebody really needs to stop him from having.
Yeah, it's like, God damn it, Trump. Yeah, and there are people who say, well, you should respect Trump because blah 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 blah, and it's like, no, I don't have to respect him just because he's president. He is a demonstrably horrible human being. So no.
Yeah.
So
people,
no.
8 years of people treating Obama like shit for the color of his skin. I'm not giving Trump the time of day.
Exactly. So okay. Moving on from the election to other, to kind of still bad news, but also not as rage-inducing, but it's still horrible and arguably sadder. How many people have died this year? How many noteworthy people have died this year? Holy shit. This is like the year of death. Like,
yeah, I don't know why it feels more like this year than in past years, because I'm sure, like, statistically it's probably the same, but for some reason this year feels like the year where literally everyone died.
yeah. I mean, let's see, we had Alan Rickman, we had David Bowie, Prince, Glenn Fry from the Eagles. Oh God. Oh, those are the four that stick out most in my mind, and they were just at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, John Glenn, Gene Wilder,
Yeah.
some of the real greats who have had such a fantastic influence on our pop culture, basically. Or in, John Glenn, was actually a person who did things, not just made movies, but, went to space.
Yeah.
So, God, it's been so insane this year. I've never seen a country collectively lose its mind over celebrity deaths the way it has this year. Like, we've always been upset when Robin Williams died. That was one of the worst things ever.
Yeah.
But this year has just been knocking them down. I don't know why death chose this year, but I kind of feel like maybe they knew something and they're getting out early.
Yeah. And maybe that's it. And you know what? Fine. They're
If that's the
older.
reason, I'll take it.
Yeah. It's like they're older. They have the experience. They're like, yeah, this is not going to end well. And then just pop off. It's just, oh god. Ah.
Basically, we're seeing like one generation, the baby boomer and older generation of celebrities starting to, feel their age and get hit with all of the bajillions of problems that come with age. And so it feels like we're getting whammied, but we're actually just seeing a whole generation disappear, which is, kind of alarming.
Yeah. So I guess this is kind of a preview because I think both of our parents are from the baby boomer generation. I mean, mine were,
Uh-huh.
let's see, like late 50s for my parents. I'm assuming yours too. So it's like, yeah, that's gonna be alarming, and that's gonna be rough. Holy shit. Uh,
Yeah, no, my family has already started to deal with the my parents having problems as they get older. Like, my mom was diagnosed with cancer,
oh,
not the bad cancer. This is it's a blood cancer, and I always blank out on the name of it.
leukemia.
Fuck. Yes, leukemia, but the good kind of leukemia. That's going to take many, many years before it starts having a real effect on anything.
Yeah.
Um, so the good leukemia, I'm saying this in quotation marks, and my dad has had a couple of rounds of treatment for melanoma or carcinoma, one of the skin cancers, and he's had to have like a knife to the face and the neck to cut out dangerous masses and stuff like that. And like I'm watching my aunts and uncles are in and out of the hospital right now, and my mom's cousin has this crippling MS that's just the worst thing ever. And I really feel like our generation in our 30s are starting to watch our parents decline, if I can use a really horrible sounding word, but we're already starting to see that, and of course we're seeing that double in our favorite celebrities because some of our celebrities are even older than our parents.
Mhm.
So it's really just it's a terrible time to be alive, but it's better than being dead, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm actually even looking at that some of the lists because I'm feeling like there were some that probably should be mentioned that did pass on this year that I would feel kind of bad for like not mentioning and then coming back later. I was like, oh shit, I should have mentioned this person here or that person there or what have you. And it's just wow. There, admittedly I'm looking at the Wikipedia list for deaths of this year, and of course they cover like the whole world. So it's like, oh jeebus, just even in December alone, like holy fuck.
I
Uh,
know it's been like every other day in December, like everybody's trying to get out before the new year.
mhm.
Oh God, I think the one that hurt me the most. Well, who was that kid who played Chekhov in the new Star Trek movies?
Oh yeah, I know who you're
What
talking about. I don't know
I
his name, but
can't
I know who you're talking
I
about.
can't think of his name because I'm having such a brain fart right now. But in the Star Trek Beyond, there's some extras on the Blu-ray and DVD copies. Anton, that's his name.
Hmm.
God, such an idiot for Anton. And there's little specials celebrating them. And the movie was dedicated to Leonard Nimoy and for Anton. And I just like fucking lost my shit because I feel like he was like the youngest celebrity who died this year because he was quite young and had such a promising future ahead of him, and then to die in such a freakish way of getting pinned by between your car and whatever he was pinned between is just that's horrible. Like, I don't feel as bad about all of these older celebrities who are passing away from, cancer or, like actual diseases. When you have a freak accident, it's quite gruesome to think about.
Yeah, and another one I didn't that I neglected to mention in my first read off was Muhammad Ali.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
The greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Cause,
God.
oh man, but yeah, there's like way too many names to list, and I don't even know like a good chunk of them. It's like who are these? Who is these? Like of course some of them are of course like I said it's based it's a world. It's a world, a global list, so of course not going to know every one of them. And if you're from like say Zimbabwe, who Zimbabwean politician Samuel Mumbengegwi, of course I would pick the one that is the hardest to pronounce. You know, people in Zimbabwe who may or may not even know of this show's existence, but if they hear it and they hear me butcher his name, you know, they're mourning his loss, and he was a politician over there, whereas we are like, who the hell is that? I mean, we're sorry for your loss, but we don't know him. That sort of thing. It's just so many people, and there's probably a lot more. Again, so many. Oh, just so much death. I mean, and again, it does seem like it's disproportionate to other years too. Maybe it could be just the simple fact that the news is reporting it more, or what have you. It could be, or maybe not. I don't know.
It is pretty sensational every time it does happen. So I could kind of see if it was getting more reported now in the age of the internet, when everything is about how many clicks can you get onto your website, that they would report every celebrity death like it's the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much we care, because we've seen actors die who, let's face it, we haven't seen them in a movie in the last 10, 15 years, and we haven't cared about them. But all of a sudden they die, and we care all over again.
Yeah.
We are once again invested in that person's life.
Mm-hmm.
Because we feel like we're losing a piece of ourself every time. We remember them from this movie and how we felt during that movie, and that person made us feel that. And that is, a loss that, we can't replace. You can't replace how someone made you feel about something.
Yeah.
And the ability to create that emotion in other people is incredible. It's an incredible thing that our actors and our musicians, the people that we idolize and look up to and love, there's nothing quite like it. So to be this disappointed this year by all the people that we've lost, it is a loss. I mean, we're not going to mourn them the way their families would mourn them, but the collective mourning of the country is quite impressive.
Yeah, and another one, oh God, they keep coming out of the woodwork for me. Alan Thicke recently passed away too. He was the dad on Growing Pains.
That was like a couple days ago. I think
Yeah.
that was this week as we're recording this.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, and it's like I saw the news and I'm like, oh shit. But and the thing is, most people, yeah, I remember him from Growing Pains as well, but I remember him more from a trilogy of movies called Not Quite Human, which is about a guy who basically builds himself a son, and he tries to integrate him into society. And Alan Thicke played the dad, and the movies themselves probably haven't aged pretty well, because you could tell they're like late 80s, early 90s movies. But I seem to remember enjoying them, and if I have a chance, I'll watch them and I can like review them again or whatever. But I remember him most from that, and it's like, holy shit, he's gone. It's like, oh, and oh God, was and this is how far my days have kind of congealed together, because I seem to remember it was either this year or last year that George Gaines also passed. I don't remember if it was this year or last year. In fact, I'm looking it up right now as we do this. Yeah, this is, and yeah, this is very. Oh no, that's not the right one. Spelling is important, folks. Bear with us. This is the equivalent of live, everybody. This is kind of the stuff that I would normally cut out, but again, this is more of a year in review show. I'm being a little lax with the format, admittedly. And it's important if you spell his name right. Yeah, it was this year. George Gaines, who was he was on Punky Brewster back in the '80s. He was also Commandant Lassard in the Police Academy movies. I grew up. Oh God, I grew up with the Police Academy movies. I love Commandant Lassard. He was like it was like he was a Cloud Cuckoo Lander, but don't piss him off. He'll kick your ass. So it's like yeah, he had some hidden depths and he did really well with that. And I'm sad that he passed this year too. But he was also like really old. Wow. But yeah. Yeah. Well, let's move on to some happier topics. How about it? Because some good did come out of 2016. Um, yeah, like for me,
I'm sure it did. What was it?
yeah,
Surely something good happened.
yeah. For me myself, I'll start personally, because a lot of the stuff that's been good for me is on the personal. I've been able to see Becky a lot more often thanks to the driving jobs that I've had. Um, been able to see more movies thanks to seeing Becky more. Like I said earlier, Deadpool, Storks. Gonna see Rogue One later on. I think next week. Like I said, want to try to turn it into a tradition. I go see a Star Wars movie on Christmas. um, just the fact that I've had a good steady income for the year is good news for me. Um, but in terms of going beyond the personal at the moment, um, video games seem to be doing pretty well. For the most part, the biggest ones, of course, for me, have been the new Pokemon games. We have Pokemon Go on the phones, which people are still playing. I still play it every day myself because I like it, I enjoy it, and they just released some new Pokemon. Well, quote unquote new. They're new to the program, but they've been around since the '90s. That are on the Pokemon Go now, and of course Pokemon Sun and Moon, which of course I picked up and beat within. Well, I say beat. I mean I finished the main story and the post game quest within like a week. So whatever. And of course Becky has already filled up her Alola Dex, so she's captured every Pokemon you can capture in the game without having before we can upgrade like the Pokemon Bank or whatever. And I'm pretty sure all of this is Greek to cat right now. Oh, but
I've been playing Pokemon Go. That's what I've been doing.
okay, there you go. But I take it you're enjoying Pokemon Go.
Yeah. I mean, it's all right. It's just something I can do every once in a while.
Yeah,
I don't live super close to anything good, but I can drive 10 minutes down the road and have a really good time.
yeah, yeah. I'm in basically a worse position. Like when I'm on the road, I don't get to go near any Pokestops on a regular basis unless I can stop at like every rest area, which that kind of eats away at time, so I can't do that. But for the longest time, the mailbox in front of our house was a Pokestop, and last time I was at home, it had changed over to a gym, and it was like, really, what the hell? And it turns out that, of course, Graceville is being silly and probably, bowing and licking the boots of the people who run the Baptist College of Florida, who don't like when people who aren't a part of the college come onto their campus, even though it's an open campus and they've not had a problem with it for years. But either way, it's kind of bullshit there. But during the time when I had a Pokestop at home, whenever I was at home, boom, 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 get all this stuff in there, and it's pretty damn awesome. Oh, but Pokemon Sun and Moon. Just quick thoughts over it overall, though, because I know some people might be curious, because I haven't put that many out there on Twitter. Number one, Team Skull is definitely the widest team villain group ever. Like you if you even get a chance to like see videos of Team Skull or whatever, they are so fucking white. Ugh. But at the end of the day, they still put up a decent, well, I say decent challenge. I get more of a challenge out of their boss, which like you're supposed to. The story is actually pretty nice. the beginning, if you're not into slow starts, sorry. The beginning does drag a little bit, but it also serves as a tutorial to help you get into the game. And there are so many things changed from previous games as well. Like previous games, you had a gym system. Now you have a trial system, which is a little different from a gym system. Like gym system, you go and you beat a few trainers, you beat the gym leader, you get a badge. Trial system, it could be anything. There's one trial where you have to basically play play a game of what's different. They have their 3 Marowak do a pose, and then you have to say, okay, we're gonna do this again, but now you gotta tell me what's different, and you do that a few times, and oh god, I don't think I could do it justice in just a few minutes. But if you have a 3DS, and I highly suggest the new 3DS because I've heard of lag problems on older models. Go and pick it up. It's like $40. I usually get both versions, so that's what I did. I do want to note that on the lag is more noticeable on the cartridge version than the download version. Just saying. And I have a new 3DS, so. Let's see, something I know, something I think we mentioned on the show before, but I think, and I'm pretty sure Kato's also excited about, Attack on Titan Season 2.
Yeah, but that's next year.
Yeah, but it was announced this year.
Yeah, but we've known it's gonna come out. We've just been waiting. Like, we've known for a while that there was going to be a second season. They're just finally going, hey, look, we actually have pictures we can show you. Yeah, that's going to be fun and exciting. I'm not, like, super thrilled about it because for me, I might as well just read the manga.
Yeah, and...
But the animation of the show is gorgeous, so it should be fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. And I've actually been keeping up on the manga. I haven't, like, been able to go out and, like, buy the things or whatever, but they have a wiki and they keep updates on it, and I keep up to date on that. Oh my god. Spoiler.
Yeah. That's how I've been keeping up too. I haven't been buying as much of the manga. Yeah. Because it's an expensive hobby.
It is. Yeah, so are audiobooks. Holy shit. I've gotten into audiobooks this year too. Because, I drive a lot and I only have so much podcast material to listen to. So, audiobooks. I've been working through the Dune series, which, speaking of Dune, Navigators of Dune came out this year, which I enjoyed. Some people are like, but it's not by Frank, so it's not as good, or whatever. I can see some of their criticisms, but it's still fun as hell.
I couldn't get past the third book. I read the third book and put Dune down and never picked it back up because those books are so weird. Like, the first one, I love the original Dune. And then you get the second one and you're like, pretty forgettable. You get to the third one and you're like, what the ever-living fickety-fuck just happened? Like, it is so fucking weird. So much bizarre shit goes on.
Yeah.
And, after that I was like, it's not gonna get saner from here.
Yeah, especially since, kid gets surrounded by, he gets basically covered in sand trout, becomes a man-worm hybrid, and rules for 3.5 millennia. Millennium is a
yeah, no, I draw the line at that shit. Like, nope, this is where we stop. We have to stop here.
Yeah, it does, but again, I find it fun, so... but if although I will say if somebody wants to start on the Dune series, I would suggest going chronological because Frank Herbert's books, they're a lot denser, because style of the time, the way he wrote, whatever. The the prequels, midquels, sequel books, they're not as heavy in terms of like philosophy or whatever. Some weird fucked up shit still happens. But it's typically a lighter read and probably a better entry point into the series as a whole if you start from the very beginning. Some Dune fans out there, I know one of my friends probably listens. She'd be like, "Wait, what?" She is definitely a fan of Frank's original 6, which I am too. I just happen to encompass it all, just like some people encompass all of the Star Wars stuff. You know, from episode 1 to episode 7. You know, whether good or bad, they're all a part of the same universe, and in some ways are still enjoyable. So, so yeah, okay. So, I've brought up some good things that I wanted to bring up. What about you, Kat? What are some good things from 2016 that you want to bring up?
Well, I did get a new job this year, which has been amazing, actually. For those who don't know, I'd been working retail at Best Buy for like 5.5 years. And that's a long time to be that miserable. Some people can work retail forever and they will be happy. But that's not most people. That's not even 10% of the people who work at Best Buy. So I got this new job working for a small family-owned company, doing basically what I had done at Best Buy, which is inventory control, which is thrilling, I assure you. Counting stuff is so much fun, said no one ever.
Yeah.
But this company that I work for is fantastic. They're just good people. I love working for them so much, being able to set my own schedule, do what I want when I want. The company is very good about, if you have a problem, they'll help you, like a life problem. So for example, very early, like within, I think the first 2 months of me working at this company, the girl who I work with every single day, her dad died. And she very quickly ran out of vacation and personal time to take to deal with this, because he was in the hospital for several months before he died. And they were like, hey, don't even worry about it. We'll just, give you more vacation days and personal time. And earlier this year, I had a gallbladder attack that took me out of commission for a while. And my work was very kind enough to let me work from home, even though very little of my job can actually be done from home. And they were like, yeah, don't even worry about it. Don't come in if you don't feel well, or, take some days off or whatever. They're very, very, very awesome people who will just work with you. So, for example, I wanted to take off for election day so that I could, drive really far to my election place and actually like do lunch with my mom and stuff like that. And they didn't even use up any of my personal time or vacation time for it. They just fucking gave me a paid day off for no reason. Which I probably shouldn't say out loud, because somebody in finance is going to get in trouble now. But
oh no,
it's just such a great job. Like, I love working there, and it's really, if you're miserable at work and it makes you miserable all the time, and you can get a new job but you're afraid to, fucking do it, because it improved my quality of life so much. I make more money working for this company, otherwise I wouldn't have gone, but just my stress levels are down so much. Like I smile so much more than I have in the last 5 years. It's crazy how much better in a place I am.
That is awesome. I can relate to that, definitely. Like I myself, I also switched same type of job but different driving companies. I was working with one. They focused on team driving a lot, so naturally I was out more often, like several weeks at a time. Couldn't really get home to do much of any kind of recording. And of course, with it being teams, you could be out longer and you go all across the country, which is a good thing. I didn't mind going out to California, finally visiting some other states I'd never been to before, like Oregon, Washington State, etc., etc., etc. But I really, I really was like, okay, I like this, but I kind of want to go solo. Well, that company, they don't really do solo unless you live out on the West Coast. So it's like, yeah, we're going to have to, I had to go with a different company. I was out of work for a grand total of about a month, give or take. And now I'm with the company that I am now. Technically 2 companies, but it's still the same company that signs my paychecks. So it's all under the same thing there. I don't know how that works if I have to fill out a job application anytime soon, but but it'll work out one way or another. But yeah, but of course, even with financial security, there's still its own set of stresses too, which, but that's a whole different thing. We're supposed to be a little bit more positive in this one. Um, what about pop culture that you found positive this year, Kat?
Well, obviously, a lot of really good movies came out this year. Even just very recently with Rogue One coming out, I really enjoyed that. Um, okay, new Harry Potter stuff. A new book and a new movie. It was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Newt Scamander. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. But Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I really enjoyed. And it's sort of ushering in what will hopefully be the second age of Harry Potter, where now that all of the originals are done, now we're going to have a bunch of, okay, this sounds like something terrible, but a bunch of prequels, basically. A bunch of movies that are going to take place before Harry Potter, which is going to be awesome. So I'm hoping that the whole Fantastic Beast will just be the beginning of a bunch of really awesome films.
Yeah, so basically, world building, world expanding, type thing,
Yes,
in terms of
definitely.
movies. Which I'll admit that's one of the reasons why to put it over onto Star Wars again for a moment. It's one of the reasons why I like I have you know I'm not like, oh my god, I'm going to totally make love to the prequels or anything, but I do appreciate them and I do like them for what they are because they expand the already at the time known Star Wars universe. Like, we got to see new planets, we got to see new people, we got to meet all this, and still get to see how things came to be up to Episode 4, for better or for worse. And I kind of like that whole, you know, expansion idea of that a prequel or a sequel, because both, and I'm pretty sure Rogue One does this as well. Again, I've not seen it yet, but The Force Awakens, of course, it expanded the universe a little bit more in that direction as well, and I like that. That is really awesome, and it even can go towards the Dune series too. Like before and after, outside of Frank Herbert's original six, you get all this expansion into just the universe of Dune, which is like massive. Again, Emperor of, I think, a million planets. I think,
The Emperor of the Known Universe.
yeah. And then there's like, holy shit, there's like millions of planets. Holy fuck. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's just, that there's just a lot of work that can be done within that universe, and when I see something that can expand upon that universe a little bit more, show us a little bit something, hey, there's this part of the universe, let's show this to you, let's see how you like it. I think that in of itself is awesome. Whether they do it well is, well, obviously up to the viewer or the reader, but that's still a good thing. And with it being done with Harry Potter, I've not been into Harry Potter. I never really read the books or anything. I've been meaning to. I've been meaning to at least either see the movies or read the books or whatever. Um, but even that, a series that I'm not really invested in, I can still say, hey, this is awesome. You're expanding on this universe. Good on you. I like it. I will put my stamp of approval on it, and there you go. Okay. 2016. Do you have any closing thoughts, Kat?
Um, it's been a hell of a year. Could have done without a lot of this year. My As much as I've been giving 2016 shit on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, I'm way more afraid of next year. I'm trying to be like, yeah, be optimistic, but I'm really worried that next year should be a repeat of this year, where we have these wonderful dangly things in, in movies and books and plays and stuff that are very wonderful, and they just sort of entice us, and for a moment we forget about how shitty the world is and how close we are to war and the genocides taking place, all over the place. And I mean, we had an all right year by comparison to other people, let's face it. If you're in Syria right now, you did not have a good year. You probably haven't had a good several years.
Yeah.
So for perspective, our year wasn't that bad. I'm just so worried that next year is going to be a repeat. The it's like the S6 of the years. I don't want a bigger, badder, uh, longer battery lasting version of this year. I want next year to be a genuine fresh start. And I just don't know if we're going to really get it. But the most important thing right now is to have a positive attitude, and whatever that you want out of your year, you just got to fight for it. Like, fight till you bleed kind of fight for it. Because the world is just sort of crumbling around us, literally in some cases due to climate change. So not to be too schmaltzy, but be the change you wish to see in the world, you know? Whatever you want, you go get it, because shit, man, life is short, but the year is very long.
Yeah, it is. Oh, and 2016 for me, just like you said, hell of a year. It's been a wild ride. As of this recording, still got 2 weeks left. Not going to be a Thespian talk unless time rearranges itself somehow. Yeah, it's been a year for schedule slipping for me for sure. It just in general, and I'm hoping that come 2017 I'll be able to have something worked out to where schedule slip is not that much of an issue. I would hope. In fact, just the other day, I actually finally got the money set aside and got myself a new microphone for the road. So you're hearing a different quality right now because I'm using just a regular gaming headset for recording this show. But I do have a Blue Yeti microphone coming in, which is actually blue, which I find very amusing, which will be in the truck, and I'll have that set up and have that all tested out by the time the next Thespian talk comes around, which will be the first one 2017, and who knows, maybe fall on the 9th anniversary. Holy fuck. Yeah, because come January, I think January 4th will be 9 years since I did the very first Thespian talk. And bear in mind, the episode numbering as it is now, this is for what is technically the second iteration. The reason why there's a second iteration is, at the time, Blip was the big thing, and it's like, let's put it on Blip, and there we go. And I just decided to redo the numbering because I couldn't remember how many episodes were lost of the first iteration. So it's like, easy to just start renumbering it. But yeah, 9 years next month. That's gonna be a thing. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get everything worked out schedule wise, and we'll be able to do a show and actually mention it close enough to the actual damn anniversary. But going into 2017, in terms of what is going to happen with me personally, like with videos, podcasts, and all that stuff, I'm gonna try and work harder to get, because I still have 2 other podcasts. I've got the Poor Charlie podcast and Constructive Deconstruction, both of which have had severe schedule slipping. Oh God, and I want to try and get those up and going as much as possible as well. I don't know what it'll have to take, but hopefully we'll be able to work something out there. As far as the site, I think may have mentioned it a time or two, but I do have some new web space that I have bought. I say bought. Over on Greenspace, rtgproductions.net. Right now, like I said, I'm using it as kind of a testing ground. Hopefully, while I'm at home over Christmas, I can finish testing and get at least something provisional up to where maybe we can start moving our producers over there. We can start posting over there. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. We'll have to see how all of that works out. And with again, new title cards should be in by the time the next Thespian talk comes out, the first of the next year. Yeah, with any luck. And I'm gonna try and do some different things in terms of just like my videos or whatever. Let's play videos. Still gonna do those. Got the new Super Speedrunner series, which pretty much as the name implies, I do a full speed run with commentary. Basically a long play, trying to go through a game as fast as I can. And hopefully I'll work out something to where I can better balance my time between the road and the house. That way I don't have to worry about, oh my god, am I going to be able to make it to a fucking truck stop with reliable internet in order to be able to do show this week? Because we've had weeks like that. Oh, but with that, that is going to be it for this show for 2016. Again, if you want to have stuff advertised on the show, go over to patreon.com/Gomer21XX, and you throw enough money at me, and I will read it out on here, all that good stuff. And just let me know what you want. And if you're already over there, you're already at that level, and you haven't already done so, let me know. Hey, just if you want to pledge that much, let me know, and I'll pimp it out for you. So yeah, with that, Kat, if we wanted to find you on the internet, where could we find you?
You can find me on the social medias on Twitter at LabyrinthCat and Facebook.com/NerdistCat. And if you want to check out my other shows, I do other podcasts as well. I do What the Fuck over on 1201beyond.com and Nerd to the Third Power, which is over on YouTube and iTunes and This Week in Geek. And if you're a big anime fan like me, I do a review series called Your Favorite Anime Rocks. Our group is called the Positive Service Announcement Team. We do have some new videos coming soon. We're just a little behind on editing for various personal reasons. And you can hit us up on YouTube, and we also have a Facebook page, which you should go and like.
Yes, go and check them out and all of that good stuff. They do good work. As for me, if you wanted to find me on the internet and the social medias and all of that good stuff, I am at Gomer21XX. That's Twitter, Tumblr, even on the YouTube. If you want to send in stuff to the show, whether you want to submit stories or if you just want to say hello or you want to talk to us about whatever, you can send it to thespiantalk.tumblr.com. The ask box and submit boxes are open. I believe, they should be set to anonymous. I would prefer you send them there. I do take ones in my personal one as well, if you so desire. I just prefer them over there just to help keep them organized. But again, news stories, whatever you want to send in, you want to send in a letter or message or whatever, send it to the Thespian Talk Tumblr. We'll read it out for you here. I do have a Facebook page, Gomer Ranting Thespian on Facebook. And of course the site is rtgomer.com, and of course my personal kind of currently in sandbox mode, rtgproductions.net. Is where you can also find me. And of course, nerdvice.com as well is where these shows and other videos also go up and get put out there for the masses. All of that really good stuff. This is it. So long 2016. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. 2017, don't fuck with me. I've got 2 swords and I know how to use them. 2017, you better behave yourself. And with that, thank you guys for listening, and until next time, this is Gomer the Ranting Thespian with the cat, signing off.
Thespian Talk is an RT Gomer Productions presentation. Our show's theme is Kick Shock by Kevin MacLeod. Find out more at Incompetech.com. If you like this show and want to help support future episodes, head over to patreon.com/Gomer21XX. For a contribution as little as $1 per production, you can get early access to all future productions, as well as monthly Patreon-only vlogs and announcements. Our show's artwork was produced by the talented Becky Hopkins, who can be commissioned by going to patreon.com/BeckyHop. Check us out on iTunes or visit rtgomer.com for more great shows.